Today we're talking about NFL draft grades and why they do not matter. I've never really done full draft grades on this channel, as I've always kind of considered it a pointless practice. It's okay to give your grades for fun, but it's really never a serious thing in terms of judging a draft. Every year, media sites and fans give out draft grades and praise a team's pick before they ever play in an NFL game. I want to give some examples of why we shouldn't listen to the media when it comes to grading drafts for a team. It's more about the overall players we acquired and how they fit the roster. But just look at the last time that the Bears were graded as the consensus best draft in the entire NFL. The last time that happened was in 2021, the last year of Ryan Pace. His draft was so good that it got him fired. Sarcasm, obviously. The funny part, though, about that draft, the one regarded as the best in the entire NFL for 2021 by the media, not a single player from that draft remains on this roster just 4 years later. Think about that, guys. This is the draft that the overall consensus in the media lauded as the number one class of 2021. And they don't have a single player still on the roster just 4 years later. Our picks that year were Justin Fields, Tevin Jenkins, Larry Borum, Khalil Herbert, Daz Newsome, Thomas Graham Jr., and Kyrus Tonga. And the media gave us the best grades in the league. On top of that, we also traded away our 2022 first round pick to move up 10 spots. None of the people in the media that were grading these trades considered that we traded away a first round pick to move up 10 spots. We also traded away more than that, and the Giants drafted starting tackle Evan Neal, receiver Kadarius Toney, and tight end Daniel Bellinger. Luckily, they didn't hit any major home runs with their picks. But meanwhile, it was that same 2021 draft class that other teams had much better classes than us, and they were not graded favorably by the media. The Lions draft class ranked 17th overall by the media. And that year, they drafted Penei Sewell, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Aleem McNeil, and Levi Onwuzurike. That's an incredible draft by the Lions, but the media didn't give them high grades. That same draft, the Cowboys took Micah Parsons, Osa Odigizua, and Chauncey Golston. Meanwhile, the Bengals drafted Jamar Chase, Cameron Sample, and Evan McPherson. The bottom line here is that most of the time, these draft grades from the media are just completely irrelevant. It takes 3 years at minimum before you can really grade a draft class, which is why I've never been huge on the grades, but I've been more about scouting the players that we actually draft. But I have another story here. Another move that ended up being absolutely horrible, but it was called a huge win on draft day, and the media lauded it and loved it. Let's go back to when the 49ers traded up for J.J. Stokes and traded away their future first. I remember everyone calling it a steal, adding J.J. Stokes to pair with the best wide receiver in football, Jerry Rice. Problem was, J.J. Stokes never had a 1,000-yard season in his career. Yet draft analysts and media guys were unanimously giving the 49ers A++ draft grades and calling it the steal of the draft. But my point here isn't about the example of the pick and how it didn't work out. It's about how bad you can set your franchise back by trading away future picks. And this is what it comes down to. Everyone who wanted Ryan Poles to trade up, especially in the top 10, it would have potentially included giving away next year's first round pick. And that is something I never, ever want to do. And that is exactly what the 49ers did when they traded up for J.J. Stokes. And it's not just about J.J. Stokes ending up being a bust. It's about that pick they traded away. Who did the Ravens take in the next draft with that first round pick they got from the 49ers? Oh, it just happened to be Ray Lewis, the Hall of Fame linebacker, one of the best in NFL history, and a guy who led the Ravens to multiple Super Bowls. So sometimes these huge wins on draft day end up setting a franchise back for decades. And that's one of the things I love about Ryan Poles' process. He actually understands value in the NFL draft, and it's something that needs to be recognized. I always like to dig deeper and evaluate the entire process without narratives. It's still impossible to predict how every draft pick will turn out, but one of the things that's key for me is the general manager taking players that I believe are values and very talented guys. And his pick of Luther Burden this year is one of the biggest steals I remember in Bears draft history if it works out right. But over the last 30 years, our GMs have not done a good job at this. They have loved to trade away draft picks. But on top of trading away draft picks, they trade up in the draft and take guys that I would have never drafted in my life. Shea McClellan, Dan Bazian, Kevin White. I can go on. There are just so many odd picks that I was just left me not only scratching my head, but wondering what is the direction of this franchise? But for me, when it comes to Ryan Poles, he has been lockstep on players I really like. In 2022, his first ever draft, he grabbed 3 players I was really high on pre-draft. Kyler Gordon, Jaquan Brisker, and Braxton Jones. In 2023, he continued that trend, drafting Darnell Wright, Gervon Dexter, and Roschon Johnson, guys I loved pre-draft. And then last year, he took one of my top 3 players in the draft. Rome Odunze is one of my favorite picks in the last 15 years, and that's after selecting Caleb Williams and landing my favorite punter and a guy I labeled all off season as my favorite sleeper tackle prospect, Karan Amagaji. This year was the first draft that really surprised me. It's clear that Ben Johnson in particular had a huge effect on this year's class, but we still managed to land one of my favorite players in this draft, Missouri stud Luther Burden. I simply love what Ryan Poles has done in the last few drafts, and I know a lot of people still want to harp on his win-loss record and somehow forget that it was Matt Eberflus that was coaching the team. To me, it's all about the process, and I believe in what the Chicago Bears are doing. I believe this team is going to turn things around and start being competitive every year going forward. But I just wanted to remind fans not to put too much thought into draft grades. Even though most did give the Bears good marks overall, I continue hearing how we neglected the running back or defensive end position. I even heard people say that Poles is still neglecting the offensive line. That kind of talk is just silly to me, but I really do appreciate everyone who watches. I have a ton more content on the way. Please remember to hit that like button for me. Turn on those notifications so you don't miss out. And until next time, bear down.
The Bears.